Welcome back once again to your number one source for education, information, inspiration on the most underrated career opportunity in the country today. That is a career in the insurance industry. Today we have a very special guest. Very excited because this is actually someone who I'm a fan of. He is an employee benefits advisor. He's the CEO of Eureka Insurance Solutions and also the CEO of a tech firm, Agency Leverage. He's also the host of a podcast. One of my favorites is called Benefits Influencer. And there they share strategies and conversations with thought leaders and other individuals who are impacting, innovating, and elevating the employee benefits and HR industry. He is an industry veteran. He is an entrepreneur. He is a father, a husband, and really one of the most dynamic individuals, but also grounded individuals that I've ever had the opportunity to come in contact and communication with. So I'm excited for him to share his story and experiences. Welcome to the You Should Get a License podcast edition, Mr. Ned Schaut. Ned, welcome.
Hey, what's up, man? Killer introduction. Thank you so much. Stoked to be here.
Man, I'm so excited to have you on because, as a professional in this industry, I've gained, quite a bit of insight just listening to your platform. And when we connected, even with the technology, I was really excited for the opportunity to, have you come on and share more of your story. And, I've had the opportunity to speak personally, to you and read your incredible book, Rebel and Create, that we'll talk about in a little bit as well. But really good to have you here.
Love it. Thank you.
So, this platform is really about, educating individuals and sharing with them, what this career opportunity can bring for them in their lives. Before we start getting into your background, I always like to start with the area of specialty because there are so many different market segments in our industry. And really, I'm excited to talk to somebody who's in the employee benefit space. So can you speak about that, about your area of specialty and focus, what that means to be in employee benefits and what that looks like as a broker?
Yeah, so our agency has really decided to focus on small group. And we're primarily in California, starting to do some expanding into other states, but still focused on small groups. So in California, that would be groups of 2 to 99, 2 to 100. Now we'll work with some that are larger and we'll do some individual, but our focus is on small group and we're not trying to be jack of all trades, right? So we don't do payroll, we don't do workers' comp and P&C. We really try to hone in on that employee benefits piece, strictly like health, dental, vision, life, long-term disability, short-term disability, voluntary benefits, and just be really good at that.
Good. So when you're talking the employee benefits, because this is important. This is important because when people think about insurance, right? If they're going to go into a career in insurance, a lot of times they think insurance sales and they think life insurance sales to an individual at the kitchen table, having that conversation about, hey, well, what are you going to do, later on, for retirement, kind of those kitchen table style conversations.
Right.
How does being focused on the work site aspect of the business really different? And how did you decide to take that route versus the one-to-one individual route?
Yeah, great question. Because when I first started out in sales in my early 20s, I was selling postage meters, which is mailing equipment. And that was business to business, right? So they stuck me handwritten business cards on Beach Boulevard, Huntington Beach, dropped me off and said, go cold call every one of these auto dealers. If you can do that and not want to quit at the end of the day, then you can do business to business sales. So I did what I was told. I got used to, that business to business. And then, 25 years old, starting to read Money Magazine, making 6 figures. I'm like, I want to be a financial advisor. And they shifted me into selling. So I went and started to work somewhere. They just wanted me to sell life insurance. It wasn't my jam. I didn't dig that portion. I think partially because I had been taught and was used to business sales. And so through that, I found employee benefits, which I like that conversation. It just fits my personality better to go in and talk to business owner, HR manager, and help uncover, what the needs are and then provide a solution. And they weren't spending their dollars as much as like company dollars. And that just to me was an easier sale. I mean, life insurance is important and that, one-on-one sale is critical, but I found myself really enjoying the business to business.
Absolutely. And in the worksite environment, you still get to have, the life insurance conversation if it's paired with their major medical benefits. We say, the term core benefits, which listeners may not hear all the time, but that core, which is that major medical, the dental, the vision, usually some group term life insurance. So you're still going to get the mix of all of those fundamentals that you need.
For sure. But you get that, the green light from the business owner, the HR manager, whoever it is you're dealing with, to get in there and create those relationships.
Absolutely. So before we dig more into that, because I want to talk about your background in the B2B as well, and how you started to make the transition into insurance. But I want to go all the way back before Eureka, before agency leverage, before benefits influence. I want to go all the way back to 9-year-old Ned Schaut. What did you want to be when you grew up?
Well, what I wanted to be was a pediatrician. That's what I thought. I always loved kids. And so that's what I thought I would do. But I did have a heart for entrepreneurship. I wouldn't have called it then, but we grew up on a golf course. And so me and my friends would go to find golf balls and we'd sell them to golfers. So from an early age, I was rocking the entrepreneur lifestyle of going and finding golf balls and going and making some money out on the golf course by selling them to golfers. And then the reason I kind of bowed out of the pediatrician thing was, you tell a kid you got to go to school till you're 28, and it kind of just lost interest.
Yeah. No, I get it, man. The golf piece, that is a pretty good hustle. I played my first full round last week, and I know I probably shot about 250 because the balls were all over the place, and having somebody to go. I went through a whole bunch of balls, just kind of going through the course. I was just losing them all. So that definitely was a good foray into that entrepreneurship and smart thinking too. So let's talk about the start with the B2B sales. So how did that opportunity kind of come about? What is it that made you say, yeah, I'll do this? Mm-hmm. And how did that bridge into an insurance career, the budding of your insurance career?
Yeah. So, come 18, 19, 20, I thought I would own some kind of business. And then I also wanted to be a youth pastor. So at the time I was about 20 years old, I was helping out at a youth group in Orange County and kind of being groomed to eventually be a youth pastor. And I was outgoing, working with kids. And one of the other leaders, she had worked at a company, and she said, "Hey, we're doing this Rainmaker program where they're hiring young, potential sales guys to come in. It's a national program. I think you'd be great." And I'm like, man, not really interested. But I went anyways, right? I'm an opportunity guy. So if there's an opportunity, I'll go check it out. Yeah. So I went and checked it out, and they said, "Hey, this is a 3-month program. You have the chance to make X and go on this rad trip to Florida or somewhere if you win." And so I said, shoot, let's do it. So I joined that Rainmaker program. It was the first time the company had done it. And then I actually got first place nationally. So I won the whole national Rainmaker program. It was killer, right? It was fun. But to me, the fun part was like Monday morning when they do their sales calls, I'm coming in and there's a 40-year-old guy and I beat him. I cold called more than him last week, and they gave me a $75 Cheesecake Factory card. I'm like, wow, this is a huge win, right? Because I eat frozen burritos and like Del Taco. So at the end of that, there's a very critical moment for me. At the end of that, they offered me a job where I would, pretty quickly make over 100 grand. And I was 21 years old, getting married. And my mentor at the time, who was the youth pastor at the church I was going to, he asked me, "Hey, so after you get married, what are you going to do?" I was like, "I'm just going to keep doing the youth pastor thing and this, that, and the other." And I remember I'm standing on like the parking lot. He's standing up on the curb. So he's a little higher than me. And he looks at me. He's like, "That's not what you're doing." He's like, "You're going to go take that job." He's like, "That's what you need to do. This other stuff can be a part of your life. But if you want to start off providing for your family well, you got to go do that." So I listened to him, and I did that for 3 years. And then I decided I eventually wanted to make a transition, but it was advice well taken.
Yeah, man. Awesome. So you started out. So needless to say, you mentioned earlier, you said, "Hey, if we'll drop you off in the morning, and if you're still around at the end of the day, then you can keep it going, for another round. Needless to say, you were still there at the end of the day and continue to excel, in that category. Where do you think that comes from? Like what was driving you, to be successful at such an early age?
Yeah, I think it was just, I've always loved to be competitive. And this was the first time that I was able to be competitive and just compete against myself. So, sometimes I'll find myself, if I'm playing a game with somebody, I don't try as hard because I want them to be happy. I want them to win. So it was the first time where the only person to compete against was myself, and then maybe some older guys, sales guys who've been around for a minute. But I think it was that, knowing that every door I walked into, they could either tell me, I mean, I had somebody grab me and throw me out of their building before, all of us who've been aggressive with sales have had those moments, and so I was just willing to do it one more time and one more time. There's nothing special about me. It's just, wow. Do you decide you want to go through that door one more time or not? And, then, I'll talk about it, but then I had a huge motive, and that was feeding my family. And so it was either hunt and kill or starve. And going home to my parents or asking people for money was never an option. So fast forward to when I started employee benefits, which you can get into, that's where it was like, all right, you got to make this happen.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Now you mentioned feeding the kids. Now you have 5 children.
Yes, sir.
5 children, which is, hey, look, that's a lot, but don't feel sorry for Ned because he lives in Hawaii where the weather's perfect all the time. So don't feel sorry for him.